All right, guys, we are live again. So I wanted to go live and discuss my recent short because it got a decent amount of traction and also some feedback from people that watched it. And I can go in and see what was the overall message of the short. I can remember it pretty well. So basically, people were saying that, um, you know, what do you mean investing small amounts of money won't get you anywhere? You, at least you did something, or at least you have to start from somewhere. And that's true. Everybody has to start somewhere. You can't start investing 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a month. And that's what I said in the video. I basically said people should get up to investing 1,000 to $1,500 a month at some point. So that means that you might start off investing 200 bucks a month, maybe 10 bucks a month, 50 bucks a month, because everybody has to start from somewhere. So I definitely understand that, and that was some of the feedback from people that left comments on the short. But you won't get anywhere if you just invest, $50 a month. Now, let's just do some math. Let's just say you invested $50 a month for 20 years. Within a year, you'll put away around 600 bucks, maybe a little bit over that, and then within 20 years, you probably have around 12 to 15,000 bucks. Now, yeah, 12 to 15,000 bucks is better than $0. But like, what are you gonna do with the 12 to 15,000? That's the question. It's like you spent 20 years saving $50 a month, and now you have 12 to $15,000, maybe a little bit more than that because of interest and all that other stuff. But like, what are you gonna do with 12 to 15,000? You just spent 20 years saving up to this 12 to 15,000. And let's say if you were 20 years old already, now you're 40 and you have 15,000 bucks. And again, it's better than zero, but what can you do with 15,000 bucks at 40? Right? Like, let's say you didn't have any job. Let's just say you were going to depend on the money that you were investing for those 20 years. You're probably going to run through that in the first year. Rent in 20 years is probably going to be, on average for a one bedroom, it's probably going to be 3,000 bucks. So, you know, 3,000 times 12, you're already looking at what, 36,000 bucks. There goes, I mean, you don't have enough, and that's just rent. We're not talking about food. We're not talking about medical expenses. You're going to be 40, so I'm pretty sure you're going to need some medical care at that point. Even if you taking care of yourself, you still have to go to the doctor. That's going to be expensive. So, yeah, you could start somewhere. Like, the whole point of the short was saying, okay, you need to get up to 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a month. And I don't think that's so hard for the average person. A lot of you were saying, "Oh, people have to start somewhere. People can't just invest 1,000 to 1,500." And I said, obviously people can't start there, most people, but I said get up to. And let's break it down. Let's go to the end of the spectrum. Let's say let's just use 1,000 bucks, right? I think the average person with a $40,000 to $50,000 paying job can save at least 500 bucks a month. Now, maybe they have to cut back on some stuff, right? Maybe they have to cut back on going out to the movies or whatever. But I think the average person can save up to 500 bucks a month with a regular paying job, $40,000 to $50,000. So that's half of the 1,000, right? That's half the 1,000. Now, let's just say you work 40 hours a week and you, right? Like you just work 40 hours a week. You may have some other responsibilities, but if you're just working 40 hours a week, then you could get a part-time job, right? To make up for that other $500. And that is the $1,000 right there. So I'm not sure what people are talking about as far as it being impossible, or what are you talking, like they almost said it like I said go fly to the moon or something like that. Like this is not rocket science. The thing, when I see people say, "Oh, I can't get to a certain amount," it's because and the truth is you don't want to make the sacrifice. Just say that. Like if you say, "Okay, like I'm working 40 hours a week, and then at the end of the week, I'm tired. I got kids. I got all these other things, and I don't want to make the sacrifice," then that's a better excuse than saying, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like the average person, you're talking about what the average person does opposed to what the average person can do. The average person can put $1,000 to $1,500 away each month, in my opinion. But again, people don't want to make the sacrifice. People don't want to do anything to better their financial situation, and you see it because, and for those of you that want to get into YouTube or make some videos, just know if your video gets a little bit of traction, you're going to see people comment the most ridiculous things. So if you start to make videos, just know that's going to happen. But yeah, it was almost like people were like they thought I was telling people to do something impossible. And I'm like, $1,000 to $1,500. Again, it's for the average person doesn't have $1,000 saved. And I know this, like I know the statistics. But again, we're talking about what the average person does opposed to what the average person can do. The average person can get an extra job. The average person can put away $500 a month away from their primary job, and then they could get a second job to, make up for the other 500 or 15 or $1,000, depending on, what side of that you want to go to. But if we're talking about $1,000 a month, I think the average person can get to that. So, yeah. Again, I'm not sure what the gripe is with say, and again, it's your decision. Like you got to figure out what you want. I think the most important thing is setting a target, right? Like I was saying earlier, at the end of 20 years, if you just invested $50 a month, you only have, what did I say, around 16 to 17,000 with interest, maybe a little bit over that. Like if you set a target to achieve $17,000 within 20 years and then you hit that, then okay, you hit that. But my question to you is, what are you going to do with that? So that's why the targets are very important. You need to set targets, and that will structure how much you need to invest each month to get to that target. And I wouldn't even set I wouldn't set a actual number. I mean, some of you could do that, but I would set targets like, okay, I want in 20 years, I want to make enough money to be able to pay my rent, right? So now you're not working off numbers, you're working off reality, and you're working off of, things you're going to actually need in the future. So, or it could also be, okay, in 20 years, I want to make enough passive income to be able to pay all my expenses besides my rent. All right, that may be 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a month. And then from there, you can work backwards, right? Then you can say, okay, how much am I going to need to do this? Opposed to saying, oh, he said you should be investing 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a month or get up to that amount. Oh, the average, we can't do that. So instead of saying that, think about all the expenses you're actually going to need and think and say to yourself, okay, is his number, you know, actually saying something, right? Like, is he actually like, okay, well, maybe he's thinking about having enough money to generate enough money to be able to pay your rent passively or pay your bills passively or whatever, whatever the case may be. You need to, I think that's the best way to work backwards to say, okay, I'm going to need this at age 40 or age 50, and I don't want to work a 9 to 5. How much money do I need to get to that? And I think most of you are going to see that you need to be investing at minimum 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a month at some point. You could start off with 200 bucks, right? Start off with 200 bucks a month, 200 250. And I think that's reasonable to start off with if you have a job. I think so. And then slowly increase that. And I would say try to get to that within, the first 5 years. So that way you're putting, 1,000 to 1,500 away for the next 15 to 20 years. You need a long period of time of putting this money away. You can't just do it for, 3 years and think you're going to, have a substantial amount of money that's going to be able to take care of your lifestyle. You need to do it for a long period of time. It's not going to be, I put 200 bucks away for, 10 months and now, I have 3,000 bucks. But what are you going to do with that? Right? Again, it's better than nothing, but what are you going to do with the money? It's going to go. Like if you left your job, like, is that 2,000 to 3,000 bucks going to take care of you? It's not going to take care of you. So, yeah, you need to think about, the money you need to be investing each month, and it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody has a different lifestyle, and yeah, it's just that number is going to be different. But I would say at least, you need to get to that 1,000 to 1,500 bucks. Because if you invest 1,000 to 1,500 bucks for the next 20 years, you'll have, over, I would say close to 200,000 to 300,000. Now, with that amount of money, you could do something with it. You can either reinvest it, potentially double it if you went all in on like a solid play, like is Tesla a trillion? I think Tesla is $1 trillion company, or is it Apple? Well, one of those companies that are up there, like on one of those prominent exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq. You end up doubling that money. Now you're sitting at 500,000 to 600,000. So at that point, because when you have a lot of money, it's easier to multiply that. You get a double on 200,000 to 300,000. Now you're sitting again, like I said, with 600,000, and now that money in like an ETF giving you 5% a month. Now you're getting like what, $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Now that's something you could do something with. You're getting $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and now you can pay some stuff off. Whether it's your rent or now you can pay all your bills passively. So yeah, you gotta think about how much you're investing, and then also what's the goal. So yeah, just wanted to get on and talk about that. I know people were commenting on the short, and I just want to get on live and address it. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, and take care.